Welcome to X's and O's with LeRoy Butler, and we are going to look at a play from the Baltimore game. And we've talked a lot, or it's been talked a lot about how important it's been for Morgan Burnett to be back in the defense as sort of the captain. But we're going to kind of pick on him today because this is a play that occurred.
He can take it.
He took it in the film room, I'm sure, this week.
Oh, yeah. He's one of my favorites. He'll be fine.
This is a play where the Ravens really took advantage of a mistake. So what we have is a three-receiver set over here. And this guy, it's interesting, this guy takes a little motion and then comes back, which he does that why?
He does it just to see if there's man-to-man.
Right. So if it was man-to-man, Tramon Williams would have followed him over there, right? Instead, he stood right here.
And that gives a quarterback, well, if they're not in man-to-man, they're in some kind of zone. Right. So this play should be successful.
Right. Okay. So knowing that.
But.
Right. Now, okay, why don't you show what the route pattern was here?
And basically what the route is, the same route that San Francisco ran with Anquan Bolden. On defense, we call it X-dagger. And it's kind of an illusion play. But all that you do, this guy here, he comes in motion, and he'll come in and go back to the flat like that.
Right.
So once he does that, this guy, Torrey Smith, one of the fastest guys, he just kind of runs through the defense, kind of like a decoy to run everybody off. Okay? Now, what happens is Jacoby Jones, he'll come all the way outside, and he'll come all the way in right here. Now, that's the route. Now, this, Ray Rice is just checking and coming through. He's not a factor.
Right. Everything over here is fine.
That's fine. Now, here's the problem with this. Tramon had great leverage. He has the first guy in the flat. But there is no guy right now. He played it deep to short. It was
so he
3rd
came
to
up
10.
here and just hung here.
Perfect. He was in perfect condition. Now, Sam Shields is supposed to be deep and outside, but he was so tight on this guy that, I was worried because what if Jacoby Jones keeps going?
Right.
He was too far inside.
Right. So he sort of has.
He got a deep
he's
third.
He's got to take whichever guy
deep
goes
third.
deep.
Right, the deepest guy. The problem is that 42, who one day I think is a Pro Bowler, he's supposed to be right there, Tom.
Well, and he walked up.
He's supposed to be there.
He was
he
here.
Walked up.
He walked up before the snap.
Yes.
And was kind of here.
Right.
And then M.D. Jennings, you
perfect.
said, was perfect.
He was perfect.
Between the hashes.
He was
correct?
perfect.
Okay.
But in a perfect world, that's how it should be. But the problem was, you erased that. 42 got a little too aggressive. And he came over here and followed that guy. He took the bait.
Right.
And this guy's wide open right there for a big impact play. And that's what, and remember now, they had a 4-man rush with almost like a 4.5-man pressure. So guys made him get off his spot. That's all you want as a defensive back.
He had to kind of step up here to throw.
Right, and he made a great throw to here. Coaching point would be to 42. You can start here and make the quarterback, I think it's cover 2, and just walk up in disguise and just stay in the middle and don't take no bait. Remember, if it's a guy in front of you, there's a guy behind you. And again, it was 3rd and 10.
Right.
Play the sticks. This is the most aggressive position. So coaching point would be tell Shields to be wider and tell 42 to be more patient. They have no play, would have got a sack game. I mean, they would have punted.
Right. Interesting that people watching TV thought, Tramon Williams blew that coverage again.
Right, but he was perfect.
He was right in the flat. Perfect. He's coming up to get this guy. He's here in case this route bends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct. And then, like you said, what Flacco could have done was if this guy just kept running straight, that was a touchdown.
It was a touchdown because now Shields was the fastest guy on the team. He got 2 guys, what we call a flooded zone.
Right.
He had to split both of those guys.
And in the perfect world, Burnett would have.
He can carry him, right? Because there would have been nobody in the middle, but
or M.D. Jennings comes over. Or
M.D. Jennings, which he was perfect. He was 30 yards deep, was great. But stay tuned for another X's and O's, and we'll tell you how being in the deep middle don't always help you cover the deep middle.
Right. You got to at least do it right.
Yes.
Okay, here's another play from the Ravens game, and we're going to be picking on the secondary again. And this is pretty inexcusable play here. What we've got is 3rd and 21, I believe, right? 3rd and 21.
You remember 4th and 26?
Yeah, sure I do. The Packers are in a prevent defense,
Yes.
and
A traditional.
in your mind, it's the right defense to play, correct?
No question.
I mean,
yeah.
okay.
Because you just want to get off the field as one throw.
Right. So I've put down the yard line where each guy is
Which I thought was brilliant.
stationed. So
There's only a few times I call him brilliant.
yeah, it's not very often. Hyde's on the 23. You see these guys are in a
Yes.
line 30, 32, 30. So they're
Yes.
basically in a line here. These two guys are pretty much in alignment at the 30, between the 36 and 39. And this is the fail-safe guy, the guy who's,
Yes.
last resort. And
Right.
this is Jerron McMillan, and he's at the 44.
And
So
this is
go ahead.
why a lot of coaches, in a perfect world, they'll just blitz the quarterback and just one throw and get off the field. But, I think more often than not, 70% of the time, most coaches are going to play a prevent. So you got Mike Neal out here jamming at one receiver. I would have rather had him over on this side to flood the strong side, but that's a different show. Now, the problem is this. Now, you see where all these yard lines are. Now, McMillan is a coaching point. As long as the ball is in the quarterback's hand, you backpedal. As soon as the ball snapped, he was walking back, like taking baby steps. Remember, now he got a 30-yard cushion. But these guys, all they try to do is extend the play. And, Smith ran through here. So the problem was this play took almost 5 seconds. This guy was running down, and as he was running down, the defensive backs, everybody was coming deep, he started to bring it to the middle. And as you alluded to, he went from the 44 to the 40. He didn't cover much ground. As this guy's sprinting, he should be backpedaling. And he fell down right at the 50?
40.
The 40-yard line.
He fell at the 40. So
he
this
fell
guy
at the
was
40.
already here.
Right.
He catches the ball at the 30, but
Yeah.
this is the point where McMillan comes down
Yes.
and falls. And his technique was terrible, correct?
It was, because you got a backpedal, slow, nice backpedal. But remember, when the ball was in the air, it was on the 38-yard line. So when he see the ball in there, it just get depth, and he tried to turn, and on that turf, it caught his foot, and he fell.
One of the reasons why I think a guy like Capers likes this is if this guy just hangs back and baits Flacco into throwing it, if he's deep enough, he should be able to come up and pick it off,
That's
correct?
exactly right. I played safety a long time, Tom, and I remember me and Eugene Robinson used to always say, you can always come up.
Right.
You're never too deep.
Right.
You can always come up. Even we went back and looked at the 4th and 26 play. It's the same thing with the deep middle guy. When you get back, you think you're so far, you stop. And when you stop, these guys are still sprinting.
Right.
And this guy here was still running down the field. So any one of these guys at some point can run a post. That's why you got to be deepest to deepest.
Right.
And as long as the ball is in his hand, you get depth.
Right. And what we saw was that with this, there was no, MD Jennings had this all bottled up.
Yes.
Tremont Williams had this guy,
Everybody
no
was
problem.
perfect.
Hawk had this guy. All he had to do was worry about this guy. It was pretty evident that he had him, and the other thing is you see these two guys are right at the, first down marker.
Yes.
So
I bet you if this happened again, you would bet money that they will not get a post on this play.
I would bet that if they play this again, he's not the deep safety.
Well,
they
that's
make a
another
change
bet I would
there.
not take.
At the point, you put a guy like Chris Banjo who's not going to make a mistake on something like that.
And then the next couple plays, Dallas Clark catches a touchdown on McMillan.
Yeah.
The footwork that he displayed is something that you take care of in OTAs. So if you're a defensive back, because you have to be concerned about his technique. But he's an aggressive guy, so maybe they'll put him close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Two
I did.
plays
I
from
got a chance to
Baltimore.
talk defensive back all day.
Yeah, exactly. So we appreciate you joining us, and we'll be back after the Cleveland game.